So we're back with our Let's Play of Storm of Zehir. We managed to pick up the singing pendant, and we're going to hand that in. It's actually sort of debatable whether or not you should hand it in. It's actually sort of a useful item. It casts what's essentially the Lesser Vigor spell, but it's, 3 uses a day, and, you can't rest all that frequently, so it's easy to work with. It also stacks with Lesser Vigor. But in the end, I'm not going to actually bother with it. It's not that important, and I have plenty of healing. So I'm going to hand it in to this guy. And he gives us beer. Hey, beer's good. But now that we have that done, we're going to move on to another quest. This is the one that the Mind Flayer was talking about to get on his special little list. So I'll see you back on the map. So I also took the time to rest up and grab a couple of different spells. I'm giving up on sleep at this point. It doesn't work on enemies anymore. And we're going to get on to, again, one of the harder fights for this part of the game. I'm actually going to break up the next area into 2 parts, because you can, and it's substantially easier that way. Nimber here is a town, and I'll get back to it. There's nothing really important there. There's just more of these graves with random rings of fortitude. And so deep in the middle of the swamp, there is something, assuming our search skill is good enough to find it. There it is. Tempest's Fury. So, I'll meet you inside. So, inside, we run into this sylph who's telling us, hey, there's this guy Shamal who'll come back and, beat us up. We'll get to him in a second. First, I'm going to buff up a little bit, since this is not a simple fight. Okay, so let's get to this. Now, just to explain why this is not a simple fight, there are 3 doors here. All of them have enemies behind them. There's a big water elemental behind door number 3, as it were. Door number 1 and door number 2 have a bunch of ice methods. If you try and open one of the doors, the enemies from the other 2 doors will come in behind and flank you. So we're just going to get all the party set up before we start opening doors. And tell them to hold. Make sure we're all using our correct modes. And let's just open one of these doors a slightly non-standard way. Oh, and there's some random junk here as well. Just, pass that out in the middle of the fight. So here comes the cavalry. Here's the water elemental. And I'm going to leave the dinosaur in there to keep these ones busy. But let's see if we can get rid of some of them. Alright, that got rid of some of them at least. Unfortunately, I'm leaving my mage here to tank, which isn't really the best of ideas since he has the lowest AC of anyone in the party. But he does have mirror images, so... And unlike everybody else, if he goes down, I can heal him. Because pretty much everybody else has healing. Yes, yes, you require healing, I understand. So maybe we'll kite the water elemental for a bit. While these guys shoot at it. And we're just about done with the methods back here, so... You can't catch me! I think under the D&D rules he's supposed to be getting constant attacks of opportunity, but it's not working out that way for him. So we're just going to keep running in circles while we pelt him with arrows. Now that he's actually paying attention to someone else, I'm going to break up the party a little bit and cast some grease to make this kiting a little easier. But here it is going down. So we're just about through the first half of this area. And the second fight here is not easier. In fact, it's probably harder. But hopefully we'll be able to deal with it well enough. So I'm going to heal up, go outside and rest, and then and then join you back inside here. So we're back. And there are a couple chests here. As you walk into each of these areas, the little sylph will pop in and tell you, oh no, you're going to get killed by Sharmal. Maybe we will, actually. But probably not in this video. I'm probably going to have to put that off until the next video for that fight. There's some treasure here, including some vault keys. There's a scroll of Raised Dead, which really isn't that important. It's not any different than a coin, except that only certain characters can use it. Might as well have him wear that. Pass out these rings of fortitude. The more important item you find here is this brooch of shielding, which casts the shield spell. Not a very high level version of it, but +4 to shield AC is another big AC boost for our tank. It looks like he tried to automatically disable that trap and failed, because, that's what he does. Why is that on? Thought I turned that off. Oh well. It's easy enough to fix. We have plenty of cheap healing. Oops. And there's a very important little item in here, which is the empty ring of genie summoning, as well as some scrolls and a journal, which more or less tells you that the research from that Mind Flayer that we were talking to down there is almost done. So this probably is what he was looking for. If we want to be on his select clients list. So I'm just gonna copy that scroll. Now, this empty ring of genie summoning, I'm going to have to use during during the upcoming fight. So I'm going to give it to Napro, and he's going to have to make some use of it. Yes, yes. There's also some scrolls in a scroll case here that if you're just using the button to identify things, you probably will miss because it's fairly small. I don't know that I can actually learn any of them yet. I guess I can learn that one. And here's our final one. This one is also trapped. It's also locked. I don't actually have enough skill points on this character to get locks and traps, so he actually just ends up bashing his way through locks. There's not really any reason not to, so it's just the traps. Not so much here, but in some of the later areas, there are a lot of very, very powerful traps. So you kind of have to have some way of dealing with it. Yeah. So even the traps here are pretty bad. So I'll heal up. Here, look, I'll grab what's in the chest. Well, I have to break my way in. I'll break my way in, heal up, and be right back. So we're back, and this chest has some more stuff in it. This Sorlin's Ditty here is sort of an interesting item. It's mostly useful just because it's an item anyone can use that casts healing spells. I'm going to give it to my mage here so that he has a way to heal people. We don't actually have enough lore skill to identify that. So we're going to have to wait until the bard has another identify spell available. And we might be able to figure it out otherwise, but I don't think it's anything important. So we now have 3 of those keys, and we are ready to open the vault door and start the big fight. The fight does not actually start until you try and pick up the contents of this chest. And of course it's trapped. So I'm actually going to save because I don't want to have to heal up again like after that last trap.